Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 884. Tonight's show, I'm going to call out for a consulting opportunity for someone. So contact me. I'll describe that. I have a client that has SharePoint and Dropbox, and I'm going to explain technically what they want to do. And I need some assistance. Can it be done in SharePoint? And can we get what we want to do in Dropbox? And I'll tell you what I'm working on for that. So we got a question. How to block Microsoft ads on boot up where you just sign in, and Windows 11 has some real annoying, I guess this happened on the latest update, some real annoying ads. And I found the link, but I haven't went through trying to figure out, is this going to work and eliminate it or not? So, but I am going to have that link. I have a client that's deciding between Google Workspace versus Exchange hosted for their email. Got some links, going to give my opinion on that. And there we go. So let's talk about the first, you know what? Let me give a little administrative update and a Phillies update. I'm recording late tonight. It's 9:30 Eastern time on Thursday night, the October 19th, because the Phillies played at 5 p.m. and they unfortunately lost. And so that's game 3. They won the first 2 games. So this is a best out of 7. So hopefully the Fighting Phils can knock down 2 more wins. That would be great. Which brings up, because it's playoff time and the World Series starting next Thursday, there are no games scheduled no matter what happens on Thursday night, the 26th. The World Series starts Friday, the 27th. So for Thursday night next week, same time, same channel, I'll be 7:30 Eastern time. I will be live. I try to come on at 7 o'clock for a pre-show. So everything's back to normal next Thursday. Now, the consulting opportunity. I received an email from a listener, longtime listener, and they write, Mike, my daughter-in-law has just started working as an office manager for a business. Now, this business requires HIPAA compliance and PCI. That's the payment card industry, so they take credit cards. Now, she had a conversation with her daughter, and they really need some IT support because they need some help. And it's not going to be an easy sell, but they will definitely have to meet in person. So if you are in the Mobile, Alabama area, and you have HIPAA experience, and I know if you have HIPAA experience, you most likely have dealt with PCI experience, hopefully, contact me. We'll have a quick conversation, very fast, very quick, and I will then put you in touch with the person who will then make the arrangements for you to meet the owner of the business. So email me, miketechshow@gmail.com. If you or you know someone that's IT support in the Mobile, Alabama area that can work on site for an office that requires the HIPAA and PCI compliance. So hopefully we will reach someone that can get a hold of me, and then I'll make the connection, put you in touch, and then hopefully it will be a good opportunity for you. All right. Now that I've done that, I want to follow up on some iPhone issues that I didn't finish talking about last week. When I got my iPhone 15 Pro, I have an Apple Watch. And it's not the latest. It's like one version back. And I could not pair it. It's a Bluetooth communication. I kept trying to pair it. I would bring the watch app. It refused. Turn the watch off, turn it back on, rebooted the phone. I could not pair it. And then the technician at T-Mobile, since we were still waiting because it took forever for my wife's phone to transfer from her Android to her new iPhone, he couldn't get it working. So he recommended, and I didn't like this, but I had to completely wipe and reset my watch like it was brand new and start from scratch. And then it paired and everything was great. Next problem, Apple CarPlay. When I first plugged into Apple CarPlay, I couldn't go anywhere on and I was like, I don't understand. My iPhone 12 Pro worked beautifully, and it would say couldn't get directions, I could not go anywhere. It was very, very frustrating. And I'm hardwired with a cable, so it didn't require any pairing or anything with the phone. As a matter of fact, in my car, if you connect via Bluetooth, you can't be wired to Apple CarPlay. When you plug in for Apple CarPlay, it disconnects the Bluetooth. So it's one or the other, not both. I finally rebooted the phone. I totally shut down the phone, restarted it, plugged in, everything's good. So now one other, and this will be the first link in the show notes. I did not even know this was an issue. Mac Rumors reporting this week that the release of iOS 17.1, right now we're on 17.0.3. 17.1 does not fix the nighttime iPhone shutdown bug. I did not even know that bug exists, and it doesn't happen to everyone. But if you look at your battery, if you have iOS 17, and when you wake up, go to your battery, and if there's a big gap in the battery usage, then your iPhone shut down, restart it in the middle of the night. And that seems to happen. But what is really disheartening is that 17.1 doesn't fix it, and that's ready to be released. So hopefully Apple will get this worked out, because you can't have your phone shut down and they say for a few hours. So it's not impacting everyone. I have a detailed link to all the details about this. So let's hope they work that out. So which brings up, especially with Apple products, I'm usually not on the bleeding edge. When it's time for me to get my new phone, normally I'm in between where the latest phone's been out almost a year, maybe a half year. It's very rare that I get an iPhone right when it was released. And this is one of those times. So I'm now living on the bleeding edge if there's any problems. That concerns me, because my phone is my life. It's my business. I can't be without the phone. And to have these bugs, and I've been fortunate that I have not experienced this shutdown one. So let's see what happens. Getting complaints from clients that one of the latest updates to Windows 11, when they start up their computer or after they reboot and they enter their password, they are hit with Microsoft ads for different games for Xbox and different things, but all Microsoft related. And this is absolutely Microsoft's fault. And I've turned off notifications. So now I got to make sure that suggestions and tips are also turned off. I made a little list of things that I got to make sure. But disabling annoying ads on Windows 11, I have a link here, and the link has 2 links in it. One, how to disable annoying ads on Windows 11. And I'm going to display that, but I'm also going to read it. You have to open the settings, click on personalization, and then click the lock screen page on the right side. And then under the personalize your lock screen section, if the picture or slideshow option is selected, clear the get fun facts, tips, tricks, and more on your lock screen. So I got to make sure that that's off. Once you complete these steps, the lock screen will not show information that may be considered ads when using custom images. My client doesn't, I know he doesn't do that, and I'm almost positive that that's all been checked, but I'm going to do it again. How to remove ads from the start menu. And there you scroll down this first link and you will see all of the things, how to remove ads from widgets. You know, it shouldn't be this complicated. You shouldn't have to read several pages of information in order to stop ads. Unbelievable. Disable widgets content. Now, there's another one, removing annoying ads from Windows, and this is from a link to an article in PC Magazine. And again, disable ads from bloatware. You go to notifications, you make sure they're off, and you scroll down to everything, and you just make sure they're all off, you know, where you don't want notifications. And that's from bloatware is utilities or programs, you know, that contains a whole bunch of annoying things. Stop Windows tips and suggestions. So this shows you exactly where to go to stop them. So that's a link to disallow personalized ads. You know, on and on and on in the privacy and security section of settings of Windows 11. So go through these articles that I'm going to have links to, and, you know, let me know if there's a utility out there that can do all this. There's got to be. Someone has had to take the time to make sure that these are set right and they're disabled. I'm sure somebody has went through utility. If that's the case and you found it out there that I can run this and I'll share it with everybody, let me know. Email me and share the link for that. I would greatly appreciate it. While I'm asking for help, I have a client that has SharePoint. They perform, let's say, audits, and they currently use Dropbox. They want to allow the external client to only be able to upload folders and files now, and not be able to view or edit the content. Just upload, but they got to be able to upload more than a file. They got to be able to upload entire folders that contains files. And it's their private area. Now, SharePoint accommodates that, where you can even set the notification. You can request a file to be uploaded to an area, and then that user will get an email letting them know that that's happened. But there's no option for folders. That's very weird. We would have to change the permissions of an entire folder, that in order to upload a folder, to give them, or like an entire site, or, you know, section of a site where they can then upload folders, but then they're going to have full access to everything in there. We want to only go one direction. Dropbox, they can do it, but they can't share notifications for more than one person. They're only getting it with one. Now, I am less experienced with Dropbox. So here's what they need. They need the ability to have just one-way drop-in folders on a cloud storage, and the notification to be whoever that person that's requesting it. And let's say there's a dozen employees. So it could be one of 12 people that would be requesting it. And then that person who requested it, who sent that link, will be the one that will get the notification. If I can't do exactly this in Dropbox or SharePoint, given these conditions, have you or a client or someone you know rolled out something like this, but maybe with a different service? Let me know with the service, because they'll do a trial and test, and they'll be able to use this. So right now they're living with Dropbox with one person as the traffic cop. And they're the ones that when they get the notification that that folder's up there, they send an email to that, to the employee that really needs to deal with that. But that puts one person in the middle when, for all those notifications. And we want to have it where each employee, I hope I explained that properly. I think I did. So I want to know, is there a way to do this in SharePoint? Is there a way to get multiple notification options within Dropbox for when it's uploaded? And then if not, is there another service that can accommodate those requirements? So that's a lot. Hopefully, email me, obviously, miketechshow@gmail.com. Would greatly appreciate that. Okay. So let's talk about Google Workspace versus Microsoft Exchange, Google Workspace versus Microsoft 365. I have a client whose spouse they have the domain, they have their website, but what they need is the possibility, they need email. And they're deciding really between Exchange hosted and Google Workspace. So I had the conversation with the husband, who's the CEO of one of my bigger clients, and I had him understand what they want and the questions that he has to ask. Now, his spouse is traveling, so when they get back, I'm going to have, I'm sure, more detailed conversations. So Google Workspace enables teams to connect and collaborate, includes productivity and collaboration tools. You got Gmail for the business, email. You got Drive for cloud storage, Docs for word processing, Meet for video and voice conferencing. You got chat, messaging, slides for presentations. But there's a lot of things that I don't believe they're going to need. And we're only talking 2 employees that are going to have email accounts for the custom domain. Then you got Exchange, which is more secure. It's got, you got messaging gateway. You got the possibility of archiving and encryption. There's lots of advanced security features. But one thing that came up is spam protection. And depending on where you go for or what you implement, so if I'm comparing SureWeb Exchange hosted to Google Workspace, Gmail has great spam protection, at least in my mind and also in my client's mind. So that's, I guess, chalk one up for Google Workspace. The cost, it's $6 for, let's look at the pricing for the different options. And so I have 2 links that I'm going to have. And one has some differences, and the other one, it's basically describes all the different plans, like Google Workspace, which I deal with less. All my clients mostly have Exchange. They have Business Starter, which is $6 a month, Business Standard, which is $12, Business Plus, which is $18, and then Enterprise, you got to contact them. And we got some nice charts here that compares all of them. And then I like this because it's all one page, the Microsoft 365 pricing options. And we got to talk about that rather than, I think it's really Google Workspace versus Exchange hosted versus Microsoft 365. Because Microsoft 365, we could tie in their Microsoft Office apps, which I know the two users have two personal Microsoft 365s they don't contain any email, but they have the Office apps. So I have to talk about that. You get OneDrive, you get a terabyte per user. So there's lots of things that we can do if we go Microsoft 365. And then compared to Gmail, and then compared to hosted Exchange, which would be just going to somewhere like ShareWeb. So, which is $10 a month per user. So I have a feeling they're going to be Google Workspace at $6 and give that a go and see how that works. And I'll get them set up for that. But it was just interesting. And the reason, since I'm going through this and I sent these links to my client and I'm going to have that discussion, I thought, you know what? This is probably very common out there. And you're either going through that yourself, or you know someone, or you're having discussions with your clients about that. And if you can share even more insight into these decisions, hey, email me. Let me know. What were some of the factors that were deciding this? Another thing that definitely has to go into this decision is what phone do they use? Because if they have an Android, I'm going to lean to the Gmail, the Google Workspace. They are currently in an Apple ecosystem. We're talking no Windows at all. We're talking the high-end Mac, which is I forget what that was called, but it was we're talking a very expensive Mac and monitor, iMacs, MacBook Pro, iPhones. So they are 100%. These two users live and operate in a complete Apple ecosystem. So does that make any change? Because see, the nice thing about Microsoft is Active Sync and Exchange Server makes it very, very easy to be able to sync everything. So anyway, Alaskan, the MacBook Pro with limited upgradability. Upgradability is not a concern. They are completely engulfed in photography. And so they live and die in Adobe Lightroom and everything Mac, and they've been Mac for years. I don't even think they would be able to navigate a Windows operating system. So they are 100% Mac. The couple users that are deciding this for the email for the business. So anyway, I wanted to share that. And as we start to wrap here, I want to go over a couple emails. And let's finish up with, this is from Bill. And he says, Mike, for your cell phone, use Google Photo. The Apple ones can use it too. Just set the phone to automatically save there. It also has some darn good editing software on it. It will also hold videos as you record them. Gmail that your wife uses is also stored in the cloud. Just put it on the new phone and log in, and you will get all the email. I have done both a number of times. Cheers. Bill, thank you very, very much. That's Bill from Rhode Island. Thank you. I appreciate that. And let's go with the final email for the night. This is Austin. The last show I read the problem he's running into. And he says, thanks for reading my email on the show. And when he presses the power button, the battery, it shuts down. The battery option. When I press the power button, plugged in, it also shuts down. Now my question, can I set MTS 86 to create a log when the tests are running? Absolutely. Even if you're going to come back hours and hours later, you have an option to save the log. As a matter of fact, I don't know, a couple years ago, I had on my Beast 2 that Carrie Holzman built for me, the RAM was definitely an issue. And remember, I had to disconnect everything and move my computer, and I ran MTS, and it absolutely found the bad RAM. Well, this was I'm trying to think of it was a Corsair memory, and it was under warranty. When I went to try to get a return authorization, they said they need the logs, and I didn't save the logs, and I wasn't going through that all again. And Carrie very graciously said, "Mike, send me the RAM. I'll run the mem test. I'll do the logs. I will ship the memory back." He did that. Now, I replaced it with new memory. So I had two 16 gig sticks. I had 32 gig. And the two 16 gigs that were bad, I sent back to Carrie. Carrie orchestrated everything for the return, got the new memory back, shipped it to me, and when I re-put my system underneath, when I restaged it, I made it a little easier for me to be able to lay on the floor and not have to disconnect everything, but to be able to open up the side and put the memory in, because I knew I'd be adding it back. So I popped that right in, everything started up, and I had 64 gig of RAM. But the reason why, Austin, the minute you asked that, I knew. I was like, yes, it absolutely has the logs, because the memory manufacturer requires it. So you could actually see what's going on and where the error is, no matter how long it is that you've been away from the computer when it's running the test. So you usually know right away. When you're running the RAM test, it doesn't take long if there's a problem, and it'll start beeping and yelling and showing an error. It's usually immediate. You're going to know within an hour or two just watching that system. So you could still save the logs. But I always like running that just in case there's memory is bad. You want to know, is what causing the reboot? You want to check the hard drive. You want to check the hardware. And which is interesting. We have one of my clients has a backup server with a RAID controller with lots of drives. I inherited this. That was the Shadow Protect local backups of 3 different servers saving to the drives stopped working. And this has been working great for years. And the RAID controller, the bottom line is the RAID controller went bad, and I had to replace the onboard controller with a physical card, and I got everything up and running, and it's now, knock wood, the backups are running from the Shadow Protect. So that, and then I'm also using, online backup, for the servers. So I'd like to have a full system image once a week with the I'm trying to think I've lost track of the word. So incrementals during the week. So then a full backup once a week, and then hold with the retention policy multiples on that server, so I don't even have to worry about cleaning it up. Anyway, that's working. It made me think of that, the different components that can go bad. That's the one thing I hate. I hate troubleshooting hardware problems. And if it's something on the motherboard, I am not doing any kind of a board level analysis with systems. I'm just not, my son and I were just not equipped for that. So that's why I like dealing with name brand systems like Dell, where we have it under warranty. So if there's a problem, we got Dell working, coming out and fixing it and replacing a motherboard if needed. So that is it for tonight's show. Don't forget to please think of me for consulting opportunities if you need assistance or help or you know someone. I do a lot of remote support, helping people remotely. Second, donations. I don't have any advertisers. And, it's not free what I do. So support is greatly, greatly appreciated. Just go to the website at MikeNation.net. And if you go to MikeTechShow.com, it'll just flip you to Mike Nation. And you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a donation button. Please, if you can, anything is appreciated. Thank you for staying subscribed and downloading the podcast. I really appreciate it. And I will see you back here next week, regular time. So go Phillies, and bye-bye.